guys, it's me, Rebecca. So I am here today to do my June wrap up, to discuss the books I was able to finish in June, and one book I have to carry over into July. I'm halfway through the book, so yeah, and to discuss a little bit more of my July TBR. So yeah, let's get started. Anyway, first book I finished in June was The Emperor and the Endless Palace by Destinian Wong. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. But this is about these two souls who they are doomed to be together. We see them in three different timelines, three different versions of them being reincarnated. We first meet them in 4 BCE, then again in 1740, and now in modern day. And we see as they find each other, as they face obstacles that prevent them from being together, and we see how they kind of are doomed to be together, really, how they kind of fall apart or are separated. And I did like this through. We do follow the perspective of one of them. Okay. My issue with this was that we follow someone in each of these timelines, and I thought it would be the same in all three timelines, but it's not. In the 4 BCE and 1740 timeline, it is the same but in a modern day timeline, we are seeing the perspective from the second person. So that was a bit confusing, just because I thought it would be the same one. Yeah, and I would have liked some answers on. It seems like in the modern day, the one of them, they do remember their previous lives in their previous meetings, while the person does not. And I was curious on why that is exactly. That wasn't really explained properly, in my opinion. But yeah, overall, I did like this. I did have fun with this. It was a fun read. So yeah. Also, I should mention, I don't really care for smut or spice or whatever in my books. But if you do, I would just recommend skipping this one, just because there are some spicy scenes. I didn't think anything was extremely graphic, but still, overall, I did enjoy this, and I did give it a 4 stars. So yeah. And the second book I finished in June was The Swan Thieves by Elizabeth Kostova. And we meet this artist named Robert, who he tries to attack this painting, and he goes to, this mental health hospital, this faculty, where it's place for people to get better, and we follow the story of his psychiatrist Marlowe as he's trying to figure out why Robert attacked this painting, why Robert, after he comes into Marlowe's care, just stops talking. Robert just says he did it for her and then stops talking, and we see as Marlowe tries to kind of find out more about Robert's past. We see him as he's interviewing Robert's ex-wife. Yeah, that's because they are separated. And we see how he's also kind of getting involved with Robert's now ex-girlfriend. And Robert, he seems to be obsessed with this woman. He keeps painting her non-stop, and we see how Marlowe's kind of trying to investigate who this woman is. And yeah, and I didn't enjoy this. For at times it felt a bit info-dumpy, it felt a bit long, learning about Marlowe's backstory, seeing why, trying to learn why he's so invested in Robert's case, because Marlowe does mention that some of the things he's doing, it's kind of going against his own practices of trying to help his patients. And while Kostova just tries to show why Marlowe's so invested in it, I just didn't really understand it. Like, I was wondering if it's because Marlowe himself is a painter, like he does paint for as a hobby. He did go to art school, like he thought about being an artist before he went down the psychiatry route. So yeah, that it never really was made clear to me why Marlowe was so invested in Robert's case. And as well, I wasn't the biggest fan of the woman's in here between Marlowe and Robert's ex-girlfriend Mary. Like, I just didn't see any chemistry between them. It did feel a bit like insta-lovey at times. Like, they got together pretty quickly. And I was like, is it because both of them are being drawn together because of Robert? So, and while reading this, we do see letters written from a woman named Beatrice from, I think it's the 1800s, to another man. And we do sometimes get Beatrice's like story, like we do have a flashback to her life. And I was like, what was the point of that if it was just to give more context to the letters she was sent in? I think Olivier is his name. Yeah, I would say if you do like art, I would recommend this book because there are a lot of discussions about art. There's a lot of descriptions about paintings and whatnot. Like, yeah, I did have fun with this. I'm not much of an artist, but still, I did have fun reading this. I did enjoy my time reading this, even if I did have issues. But like, yeah, I did give that a 4 star. And the next book I finished in June was The Witch of Willow Hall by Hester Fox. This is about this family that has to move to this estate called Willow Hall and a town called New Oldbury. It seems like it's quite like a smallish town, like everyone knows each other, everyone is gossiping about one another and all that stuff. And the family have to move because of a scandal that involved the oldest daughter back in Boston, and they have to get away from the rumors and all that. Like, it's like a fresh start for everyone, really. And we see how Willow Hall has this effect on Lydia, the narrator, as well as Emmeline, who is the youngest sister. Like, with Emmeline, she is throwing more tantrums, she's behaving really out of character. And with Lydia, she is seeing people, hearing voices in the middle of the night. She's like, this house is affecting her sleep, and she can't sleep at all. And really, this is more of a historical fiction than fantasy. Like, the fantasy elements are kind of really much in the background, and we don't really see them until like the very ending, when it's like more developed. Like, it's more of a historical fiction with like gossiping, courting one another, family drama, and whatnot. Like, we really learn about this house, Lydia's family history, especially on her mom's side at the end of the book, and we see how Lydia might be a descendant of a witch. She can do things when she's like feeling very emotional, whether it's like extreme sadness, extreme anger, like stuff that happens that she can't explain. And yeah, I did like this one character was just so like reminded me about, well, like the way she treated Lydia was just horrible at times. Like, it's Lydia's older sister, and I'm like, how can you treat your siblings like that? Like she goes out of her to try and make Lydia's life a living hell because of something she believes Lydia did, even though she doesn't have any proof that Lydia actually tried to do that. But yeah, I did enjoy it, and I just had fun with it. Like, it was a fast read, so yeah, I gave that a 4 star as well. And the next book I finished in June was A Sleight of Shadows by Kat Howard, which is the sequel to An Unkindness of Magicians. I'm gonna give the summary for An Unkindness of Magicians, as this is the second book and it does follow quite soon after An Unkindness of Magicians. But An Unkindness of Magicians is about this tournament that's supposed to take place every generation, and it's like kind of a way of kind of structuring the power dynamic in this world. Like with this, magic is like separated into different, not separated, but there are different houses who are in power of the magic community in New York. And with this tournament, it's this demand, it does, not demands, but it's like determines, that's the word, of what house has more power, what house is actually the leader of all of the houses, which houses can form, which houses dissolve, and all that stuff. And with this tournament, it's quite different because it's only taking place like a couple of years after the previous tournament then. And with this one, we follow this guy named Warren, who he is trying to establish his own house in this community. And he chooses this champion named Sydney, who's kind of an outsider, but she's really from this house that no one really discusses about. Like, it's a hidden secret that this house helps do magic without causing harm and whatnot. And Sydney, at the end of the first book, does something to kind of cut this house off from the rest of the magic community. And with this one, we follow the aftermath of Sydney's actions, how it affects her personally, how it's affecting the rest of the magic community, and we see how people, they do try to make a change, and while some, they won't go back to the old ways because they personally believe that it was better for them for the rest of the houses. And yeah, and I don't know if it's because I read the first book in 2021 and I think pretty much a different reader then. If it's been 3 years since I've read the first book, I didn't do a reread or what, but I just didn't really feel connected that much to the characters. I didn't care for their relationships or anything. Like, there was one character in here that I did like it and for what she was doing to help Sydney, because she felt bad for being an assistant to Sydney's actions at the end of the first book. But yeah, overall, I didn't like this second installment, and on Goodreads I did give it a 4 stars. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna lower it to a 3 star, just because overall I just felt fine about this book. Like, I liked it. It was a good time, but yeah, nothing memorable, unfortunately. And the last book I was able to finish in June is A Tempest of Tea by Hafso Fazo. This is about this tea room that by day is a normal tea room, like you buy tea, pastries, all that stuff, and by night it is a blood house where vampires go to drink blood. And in this world, vampires and humans are interwoven, but the humans are afraid of vampires, mainly because of the idea of them, and as well of the actions of this one individual many years ago, this serial killer, who went around drinking people's blood. And I don't know, the current leader of this country used that person to heighten people's fear of vampires. And as well, the current leader, he bought or blackmailed the previous proprietor of the property that the tea room is located in, and he's planning to shut down the tea room. And the owner of this tea room, Arthi, she and her, I guess, gang, they are planning this heist to steal this ledger that was stolen from the leader, and they're planning to use it to blackmail him into giving back the tea room building to them. And Arthi, she has to team up with this person who's supposed to be a guard, someone who's loyal to the leader. and she also teams up with a vampire and all that stuff. Like, yeah. And and I did enjoy this. I did like the characters a lot. I enjoyed Arthur as a character, how yes complex she is, and I also enjoyed the relationships in here between Arthur and her friends, Arthur and her potential suitors, as well other characters' relationships, as well as her friendships. So yeah, overall, I just enjoyed this book, and I'm very much intrigued for book 2 in this series. And I did give that one 4 stars. Now, that was all of the books I was able to finish in June, and the one book I'm carrying over from June into July is Evocation by S.T. Gibson. I'm about halfway through this book. It's the last day of June. I don't think I'll be finishing this today. I don't really plan to. I plan to take my time. But this is about this guy named David, who is a powerful psychic prodigy, and he on his 30th birthday he kind of has to fulfill this like ancestral deal with the devil, where he will be, I guess, the sacrifice to the devil. And David, he is currently experiencing, I guess the consequences of this ancestral deal. Like he is being possessed against his will. He's experiencing blackouts. He's experiencing a lot of symptoms that he doesn't understand. And he has to team up with his ex-boyfriend named Wise and Wise's wife named Mora to figure out what this is and how to stop it. And so far I am liking this. We do start this novel 6 months after this conflict between Wise, David, and Mora, where David apparently accused Mora of being a liar, and it has caused a lot of issues between David and Wise, like almost like a falling out of the two of them. And we see how Wise and David are piecing together their relationship again, and how David's getting closer with Mora, and we see the dynamic of the magical community in Boston. Like there is this secret society that's like an all boys club that is kind of difficult to get in for the women, and yeah, so far I'm just having fun with this. Like that's really all of my thoughts. Like I'm only 140 pages in, and we see how Wise is trying to figure out what is going on with David and Mora trying to teach each other. Like Mora is teaching David how to build protection around himself from entities, and David is trying to teach Mora how to really connect with the ghosts she's seeing. So yeah, so far I'm enjoying this novel a lot. But yeah, that's all of the books I finished in June, the book I'm currently reading. And the rest of my July TBR so far, everything else I read in July will of course be in my July wrap up, including Evocation. But the next book I plan to read after that is The Woman of Kings by Jen Lyons. This is about this guy who grows up in the slums of this country. He's a thief and a minstrel's son, raised on tales of long-lost princess and magnificent quests. And he's claimed against his will as the missing son of a treasonous prince, and he finds himself at the mercy of his new family's ruthless power plays and political ambitions. And he learns that being a long-lost prince is nothing like the storybook promises, and the storybooks have lied about a lot of things too. And yeah, we just see how he grapples with that and how he has to try and save the empire. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued about that. And then I plan to read Bright Young Women by Jessica No, which is about, I think, this serial killer who terrorizes this campus in Florida. Yeah, it's Florida State University's campus, how he kills a bunch of women at the top sorority, and then 4 years prior there was another serial killer that was terrorizing Seattle, and a woman there believes that the two cases are connected. So yeah, I'm very much intrigued about this one. And now that's it. So to recap, that is everything I read in June and what I'm currently reading, and what I plan to read in July so far. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below telling me what you've been reading recently. If you want to, please subscribe to this channel. And if you want to follow me on any social media, then all those things are in the down bar below. I'll see you guys next time I post a video. Bye.